doing this to earn the right to do this.
Looks like he's going with the backwards fall technique.
I give that about an 8 out of 10.
I've got to pass an actual Coast Guard training syllabus to participate in a real-world exercise. It's a chilly fall morning in northern Michigan, and I'm up and ready for my duck training with the US Coast Guard. But on this trip, I'm not alone.
YMCA.
Steve-O is a fellow aviation YouTuber, and this is our first collaboration together. It's not long before we realize the true gravity of the situation.
I am not in shape after a pretty tiring couple days.
Steve-O and I met the Traverse City Coast Guard crew at AirVenture 2016, and we were quick to jump at the opportunity to get fully immersed in a weekend of real-world training with them in Lake Michigan.
You come on back out, and we'll show you a little bit more flying out in Traverse City area.
And so here we are, ready to face the challenges we know they're going to throw at us. We head off for what will prove to be a tough first training day. That is, if we can even find the place.
Went to the YMCA, right there's the sign. But it wasn't at the Y.
Yeah, go back
It
to
was
where we were going.
at the Traverse City Civic Center. And we got lost!
Stop.
Stop what, whining?
No, don't. We're going to East Front Street and Garfield Avenue.
We put a couple pilots into a car and we weren't using ForeFlight.
I feel like we're going to the country. We're not going to the country.
Yes! Traverse City Civic Center.
We crisscrossed this city 3 times.
You guys get some sleep?
What's up, Steve-O? Good to see you.
Yeah.
We're greeted by Lieutenant Commander Charlie Wilson and Commanding Officer Greg Mattis.
Steve, good to see you again.
So early.
Oh, no worries.
I am Lieutenant Commander Charlie Wilson. I'm a pilot here at Coast Guard Air Station, Traverse City.
Charlie is really the reason that we're here.
I'm a fan of flight shops. I'm a fan of Steve-O 1 Knievo. The captain here is too. We reached out over email that, hey, do you want to take a ride in a Coast Guard helicopter? But it all started because we're fans.
And I think they share our passion to be ambassadors for aviation. Commander Greg sent me this footage of him soloing during his tailwheel endorsement, which he said my videos flying the Super Cub helped inspire him to do. Anyway, this trip took a while to plan, and we had all that time to feel the pressure knowing what we were facing.
We have air crew that have done this for years and years and years, and they still get nervous about it. 75-yard swim in full flight gear, tread water for 2 minutes, and then inflate a vest manually, just simulating that the CO2 pull cartridge doesn't work. And then after that, they're gonna have some fun in the sweat chair.
Fun is a debatable way to describe this.
This is pretty stressful. I didn't want to keep them up, but you'll see once you strap in the chair and they flip you over, your body instantly goes into like a survival mode. But I think these guys have a pretty good shot of making it out okay.
Next, we were introduced to our rescue swimmer, John.
Well, I joined the Coast Guard in 1999. I've been a rescue swimmer my whole career. Bounced all over the United States, Cape Cod to Sitka, Alaska, Savannah, Georgia, Kodiak, and now I'm here in Traverse City.
We're just going to review some of the equipment here and some basic terminology stuff.
Once in the pool, we were bombarded with info about the equipment.
Your Triton harness, your chest strap. Buckle that in, adjust that. Put your arm up like you're going to do a crawl stroke, and then adjust this. Twist this oral inflation knob down. Press down on it. V-ring, Talon hook. And this is just gonna stay right here.
That's all there is to it.
Then we got into the water for our first drill.
Sorry, what was that? No clue what's coming.
Perform a 75-yard swim using the crawl stroke, breaststroke, backstroke, side stroke. No doggy paddle. You guys are good? Yeah. All right.
I don't know yet how many laps 75 yards is, and I kind of don't want to know.
Surprisingly, we made pretty fast work of that first swim.
All right, 1 more minute, Chops.
And the 2 minutes of treading water that followed wasn't so bad either.
All right, you're good, Chops. All right. Steve, you're good.
I think they're doing fine so far. This next part is a 15-yard underwater swim. This is going to separate the men from the boys. We've made some side bets.
I can't think for the life of me. We'll see if we can accomplish this.
At about the halfway point, I started feeling like I was running out of air, and I looked back just in time to see Steve-O quit. So now I knew I had to make it. So I made the decision that if I passed out, the Coast Guard swimmers would save me. So I pushed on.
I did my goal. I went 4 feet.
Steve-O. Well, the excuses were flying. I'm a little disappointed. Former Coastie. He made it a good 6-7 feet though.
There's a little bit of paniciness at the end. I didn't have my heart rate low enough.
Unfortunately, that's the end of the road for Steve-O. And seeing as he wasn't keen to get in the cold lake water, it's no big deal, I guess.
Want to do this with him, Steve? No, I'm going to skip on this. I'll go over with the old ladies and do the fingers thing. That's more my style.
But what it does mean is now I have to pass the rest of the training, or this mission isn't going to fly.
We're going to have you do 150 yards, 3 full laps down and back.
On top of some additional swimming wearing the gear, I had to get familiar with how the equipment worked in the water. Then John demonstrated a few of the different grips he'd be using on me in the actual open water when we did the rescue on the lake.
I'm learning how to use a rescue taco.
Perfect, you go ahead and unzip and get out of your taco.
It's official, I am out of shape.
For the final and most intense part of the training, I had to put on a flight suit with boots.
Well, we gotta simulate what we'd actually be wearing in the aircraft if we went in the water, so that's what this is about. Are those in use?
There was no avoiding it. I had to face the sweat chair, and John showed me what to expect.
So you're going to get a reference point, you're going to be knocking out your exit, you're going to disconnect your ICS cord, and while maintaining a reference, you would grab your C's bottle out, put it in your mouth. So we're going to wait until we hit the water, helicopter's going to flip upside down, and then I'm going to disconnect and egress. All right.
As a certified scuba diver, I'm fairly comfortable in the water. But I'm not going to deny that this was pretty scary, and failure was not an option.
One of our first kind of signals to someone not doing well in the chair is you watch their feet. As soon as they go upside down under the water, you'll see the feet start twitching, and then if they're really in trouble, they'll start flailing. That's one thing that the swimmer and the safety supervisors are looking for.
I just learned how not to die if we flip over upside down in the water in a chopper.
Give me a thumbs up when you're ready.
One more flip in the sweat chair, but this time I had to prove I could stay calm long enough to use the respirator before starting the egress process.
Chops, you did good. You just practice doing what Coasties have to do every year.
Steve did good. It usually takes about 3 or 4 rides of just flipping over before someone's able to stay comfortable enough to even go through the rest of the procedure.
So good job, man.
I just got to have a tiny slice of a day in the life of a Coastie. That ain't easy.
It is not as easy as one might think. As you can see, I'm in my civilian clothes, and I did not pass the training. Mr. Chops?
I'm wet. So I'm gonna get to be the guy that gets wet when we fly. You're gonna get the.
And I'm gonna be actually in the helicopter.
He gets the comfy
saving
seat.
flight chops.
Yeah, that worked out.
So the morning training session was finished. After that, we came back and we did more gear familiarization back here in the hangar, hooked up power to the helicopter, and showed Steve everything that was going to happen the next day without that kind of pandemonium that goes on with a hovering helicopter over you.
This is the MH65 helicopter. This is where we're going to enter and exit the helicopter, straight out 90 degrees from here. Whenever you're entering and exiting and the rotors are turning, you're always going to want to duck and just come straight out from here. Looks like these rotor blades are pretty high, but they dip down towards the front and they flex. All it takes is a gust of wind to come down.
Yeah, wow.
And once you go ahead and sit in the swimmer seat,
We went through the procedures related to the equipment in detail, adding navigating the geography inside the helicopter in case of ditching. That was quickly followed by hand signals, like lots of hand signals, before we got onto the fun stuff.
Before I go much further, I'm going to check that.
Yep, you're going to check your garter belt.
Yep. Then I'm going to get to here.
Yep, get that snug.
I'm going to tap it and pull it again.
perfect.
Gonna give you a tap on the
So
chest.
then I'm going to do this with this hand.
Yep.
So that's free to go. I'm going to give you a thumbs up.
You're going to give me a thumbs up, right? Yep.
Okay. It's actually kind of like a comfy cottage chair.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, so I'm good. That's a lot to know, man.
Let's see.
It's not easy. It's not simple.
And it wasn't even close to over. We were going to be doing several different types of hoist rescues, and I needed to know my role for each one.
There's a lot of procedures, and we have to feel comfortable enough knowing that you get it. Because although we're gonna be a swimmer and a flight mechanic are gonna be with the survivor in the back of the plane, there's still a bunch of equipment procedures where you have to hook up various types of hooks, and you need to make sure your equipment's set up right, and you have to know the basic hand signals. That might be it, man.
Yeah, that's it. Just a small checklist of 40 items. It's definitely more complicated than I thought, but that's cool.
Congratulations, Steve Chops. You passed your rescue swimmer survival qualification today. You can deploy out of a MH65 Dolphin helicopter. Enjoy your ride tomorrow.
That's gonna be crazy. Yeah, I appreciate it. That's awesome. All right, yeah, that's something to frame, man. That is an honor. After all this pressure, I only felt a moment of relief because I realized the next day I was actually gonna have to jump into 55-degree water and be hauled up into a helo, generating 100-mile-per-hour rotor wash.
Oh, I can't do this one because we're going over water, right?
Yeah,
Hopefully this one looks smaller. Yeah, thank the Lord. That one is large.
While Steve-O got his wardrobe issues sorted, Brock and I went to get changed, but upon arrival we found out the dry suits we were expecting would have needed to be fitted and leak tested specifically to us in advance. So it was gonna have to be good old-fashioned wetsuits. All the way down, or?
Yeah, just like right below your feet.
After confirming we had everything ready to go, we headed to the briefing room.
I think the first one, free fall of John, so we can get that out of the way because that's a cool factor. And then after that, with whatever you want to see.
We can hoist it together.
You'll go out in the water, he'll pick you up with a basket.
The directs are probably
He'll give you the hook.
And as with any flight, briefing is key. But this one was a whole other level compared to anything I'd ever done. And they use a very interesting method to assess risk. It's really a more complex version of the I'm safe checklist that a lot of GA pilots use.
Yeah, we call it operational risk management. How you feel, how's the weather, how's the aircraft, you know, what kind of evolutions are we going to be doing today, and then we use a mathematical equation to get a final number, and then we evaluate the risk of our flight based off of those numbers.
Weather's good. We got a kind of an overcast ceiling out there right now, probably around 2,000 feet. That shouldn't be any problem for us today on flight. Flight plan and radio guard, we're gonna take off out of here and go right out to East Bay.
With the briefing complete, we split up to fill our respective roles. Steve-O, James, and the crew head out to the ramp, while Brock, Charlie, and I go to meet the boat crew at the marina. Let's make this happen.
All right, here we go, guys. Going out to taxiway Delta 2 here at Cherry Capital Airport. We'll be taking off to the east and turning out left. It'll be a quick flight out to East Bay. Just north of the airfield here. It's one of the bays that we do all of our training. Traverse Tower, Coast Guard helicopter 6511 Delta 2 requesting takeoff parallel 10 with a left turn out to East Bay. Coast Guard 6511 Traverse Tower, taxiway Delta 2 intersection, clear for takeoff, turn left on course. 6511, roger, clear for takeoff. Alright, N1 source TOG, look good. I am on the go. Here we go, guys.
This never gets old. 29, 7 Echo, about before we land.
And I'm wing level climbing out.
Echo, Traverse Tower, cruises request.
You can already see East Bay there, like I said, very close. Alright, Steve-O, you can see the contract boat right out there. It's 11 o'clock.
One Papa has Coast Guard in sight. Yeah, Flight Choppy drew the short straw on this one. He gets to go jump in the cold water, and I get to hang out with Larry here. They look like they're in distress.
Yeah, they do, don't they?
Pretty awesome.
It's perfect conditions for hoisting. I don't know if you can see from your seat or not, but I got a really good view of the vessel over here.
First thing we did, we came over the boat, and we did a couple of basket hoists directly to the boat. That does a couple things for us. One, it allows us to warm up, get our conning commands down, get in a rhythm. We're using that time to burn down some fuel to give us a better power margin, because when you and the rescue swimmer get in the water and we have to hoist you up, that's an extra about 350 pounds that we're picking up.
There's flight chops getting ready to get in the water.
Hopefully he survives this.
Looks like he's going with the backwards fall technique.
I give that about an 8 out of 10.
I don't know if that was on purpose or not, but it looked pretty graceful.
Hey, you've got a different career if you stop flying airplanes. Time is crucial. We got flight chops in the water, and we don't want them to get hypothermic here, so.
We'll descend down to at least 15 feet. I like to do it a little bit lower, and then we'll have John basically jump out of the helicopter and swim over and rescue those guys. Deploy rescue swimmer. Swim away. Swimmer's on the water. Swimmer's okay. Clear back and left. Swimmer's coming out yours. 3 o'clock. Roger that, Peace Command.
We spent half an hour out there in that freezing water going through several different hoists, and we're going to cover it in great detail in part 2, so stick around for that one. Thanks so much to Patreon supporters and sponsors for making this stuff possible, and massive thanks to the Coast Guard for inviting us. There's recruitment links and info in the description. And for the other side of the story, check it out on Steve-O1 Knievo's channel, link also in the description. And as always, keep your flight chops sharp.
Oh, and yours is backwards. I knew somebody was going to do that.
What are you talking about?
So zipper in the back, yeah.
Oh yeah, because you can feel the little knee pads back here.